What's up, guys? It's John at National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into tonight's game. So we did a 50-50 on tonight's game. We got the over. We didn't get the cover, obviously. The Jags won, which is fine. I figured they were going to push Lawrence. I just figured the line looked a little fishy. Again, the knee injury, I didn't see much of an injury, so they might have just pulled that tactic, said the guy was hurt. Maybe people thought he would play hurt. So, completely no-sold the injury, which was, very reminiscent of Mahomes in the Super Bowl. But we got the more important play, and again, I'm always going to go to the Bear numbers before anything else. You can see just 0-6 against the spread. Only a couple handfuls of teams here with only one on the spread. Pretty soon there'll be at least two. I'm sorry, not the spread, but the over. So, the Bears went under for the first time. Now the Saints have gone over for the first time. It's the reason I like the metric so much. And you see there's NFL teams that fit the metric. There's not a ton anymore, so it's a lot of it's using discernment because, like I said, you will have a team or two that doesn't do great against the spread. But when you're at 0-6 on the over-under, I figured that something had to give there. So I just wanted to show people that because, in my opinion, it's the best metric one can use when going into this stuff. Now, I wanted to go into it's about 8 or 9 college games that I like, and I have them all posted, but I wanted to go into just some that I found interesting. At least just the spreads. So, the Ohio State one I picked as a metric. Just so you know, the Penn State has not covered once Penn State's covered every game all year. So, in this matchup, I do think Ohio State will probably get the cover. UCF Oklahoma's another one. Oklahoma's covered every game this year. They've won and covered every game this year. So there's a couple games like that. And then scrolling, I found about one or two games that I thought were a little sketchy. One of them was, I think it's the Colorado State game. And it's not that it's sketchy, I just think a lot of the public is going to be on one team. So, and I'm going to go into it in a second. Like I said, I have them all posted. Right here. So the one is South Carolina. I think this 7.5. These spreads remind me of Pitt, a ranked team here at home, and Pitt was at home, but Missouri we got at home here that's ranked, going up against South Carolina. Obviously isn't as bad as 2-4 would suggest. They've lost closer games, things of that nature, but still 7.5. I think public's going to be all over Missouri here. Maybe buying a half point. And definitely the money line and parlays. So I like South Carolina for that reason. And the other one, as I had alluded to, is Colorado State. Same kind of idea. But there's an added reason I like Colorado State for the win. Is because I like them for the cover no matter what. Because UNLV has covered every game this year. So then it comes down to, okay, if I think there's a really good chance they cover, I might as well go for the win. For the plus 250, that's the value on this, is 2.5 to 1. So to me, it's worth playing as a straight up win. Now, here are this was tonight's picks. So tonight, again, we got the more important one. We got the Saints Jags over. That was a leg 3-4 units. At the end, it moved to about 41 points. So even if it moved to the high end, say 42. Obviously, you covered healthily, so that was an easy cover. And we didn't get this, obviously, but this was only a leg 2. And I have a leg 3 for that tomorrow. And that's going to be LSU Army under. LSU is the exact same logic that I imparted with the Saints. They are 7-0 on the over, and I think that they're just due to go under. So I like the under in this game for a leg 3 for 4 units. Now, if you notice, there's no other leg 3s or even leg 2s. The reason being, like I had said, I post updates every single day on these. In this is our last week when we did, college and the NFL. We closed at basically every leg 2, leg 3. So I went back all the way, as you'll see, to sequence, I think 46. 44. Yeah, I went back to sequence 27. Okay, so I went all the way back to sequence 27. We did not get the Vandy under last week, but we wound up really making up for it with the NFL day, finished in the green on the week. But so yeah, I went all the way back to sequence 27. We probably have a couple hanging chads, but for the most part, there's less than a handful of sequences that we have open heading to a leg 2, leg 3. So there's no need to rush them. So we have the benefit of being able to play all these as leg 1s. So I got the UFC cover here. I didn't look at the LSU Army under. I'll update the exact number. As I always say, I try and wait until ESPN looks like it's settled, and I always match up my under with the ESPN under. So, like right now, for example, we can see where ESPN's at. And it might move a little bit, but I always like to use ESPN. They just seem to be like I said, like the Associated Press is. Okay, so 59 might be at 60, 59 and a half by the time you lock it. But so for now, it's LSU Army under 59 and a half. Like I said, they might move it like a point or so, but I always match up mine against ESPN. The rest, I was able to see the cover. So UCF, we got 17 and a half. Oklahoma hasn't been covered all year. Again, I went with CSU just to beat UNLV because I think they'll cover them. So then it's just a matter of trying to get some extra value. Washington State covering Oregon. I like Oregon has not been covered all year. As I alluded to, Penn State has not been covered all year. I think Ohio State's a good one there. Illinois, I just took them to win. They haven't covered. They covered one game all year. They're 1-6, but it's also a fishy line, so I think they just win the game. I got South Carolina again winning straight up against Missouri. That's 2.5 to 1, and then finally UConn, who just another suspicious line. Really bad team, 1-5 against a 3-3 USF team with Brown looking pretty good. So more of the money has to be on, in my opinion, USF in that game. So I like UConn there for the win, and that's basically an even odds pick. So yeah, like I said, nothing with colleges. It's never anything crazy. It's just a bunch of numbers that typically do bear out. I'll be looking into some other ones. FSU Duke's a little interesting. It looks like FSU is giving a good bit of points, which is interesting. You'd think maybe 7 points, something like that, but 14.5 makes me think they might cover that. So I probably lean FSU, but I'll be going into actually beginning of the year. My two teams were FSU and USC. Not much has really knocked me off of that. Obviously, if anything, I like FSU more. It was because where Vegas had them. Vegas had them as the most likely team to go undefeated. Of course, a lot of that comes down to schedule, but they obviously haven't had the easiest schedule. And the colors, I think it matches up. A lot of Florida teams have been doing good. And then USC's got Caleb, so they might be a red herring. But yeah, those are the two teams that I really thought might do something. So FSU is still getting pretty good money to win the whole thing, and I think there's a good chance they will. But yeah, I'll be looking into other games. I know the NBA season's starting soon too. I can't wait to go into the Warriors Suns. That's going to be fun with Chris Paul on the Warriors now. That should be an interesting game. And then we got the rematch of the Western Conference Championship with the Lakers and Nuggets. So that should be another interesting one. And yeah, that's about it for college. I'll have NFL picks out, obviously. But yeah, tonight, obviously would have been nice to go 2 for 2, 6 units profit. But I'll take a 2-unit profit. We got the more important one. There's a reason I use leg 3s for my against the spread metric. As much as I believe in the narratives, I've seen too many, every sport every year have the same teams, the same exact margin discrepancy between teams against the spread. So it's like flipping a coin a million times. You kind of get the same result after X amount of times. It's almost 50-50. It's the same type of thing with the spreads. Like whether it's rigged, real, however they go about it, you always have teams finish in the same threshold against the spread. So Saints got off of that 0-7 under, which Al Michaels, by the way, joked about. Al Michaels and someone else joked about how, the Saints have been a wet dream for people that bet the under or something of that nature. So I'm sure people had the under this game and probably didn't expect Lawrence to put up 30 and the Saints almost to put up 30. I think, it was 31-24. So I think people weren't expecting that. So to me, good night. Obviously, again, it's always good to get them both, but it's a good start to our week. We've been doing pretty good prime time. and I fixated more on the over/under that game. So I'd say it was a good night. And of course, it's always good to get them both, but I think we'll get a lot of the games going forward. Sunday, actually, I went into two. Well, I went into one already, and because I went into Thursday's game and the Lions game, I think the Lions one's going to be pretty open and shut. And there's a few other ones that the spreads just don't match up if you look at it, so I'll be going into them too. But yeah, most of these games are Saturday. I think one might be technically today. There's one Friday game, I think. I'm not positive though, but you guys can check. Again, all the picks that I have that I showed in my Discord are the ones I'll be playing. And if I do add any, I'll just do it in another video. I'll add them to the list. As you can see, we're almost 100 sequences in the green. So I'll be doing a recap actually at 100. I think it's a good number to do it at. See exactly where we stand. Like I said, the reason I do a 3-leg system, it just gives us the best opportunity. And we can go for good plus odds games like Colorado State, South Carolina, because we're getting 3 cracks at it. So yeah, let me know what you think. If you think any games coming up look a little suspicious, whether it be college or NFL. So take care and happy earnings.